Hello and welcome to English for Everyone, where we practice real-life American English. Today we're going to take a look at some confusing prepositions, so let's get started. We're looking at the difference between in and into. Sometimes they're interchangeable. For example, if you have motion and direction, you can say in or into. If I say put, I can say put the toys in the box, or put the toys into the box. I think in is more common, but they're both correct. Another example, if I have direction and movement, walk. She walked into the room, or she walked in the room. We can use both. They're both correct when you have movement and direction. So with verbs with movement and direction, like put and walk, you can say in or you can say into. Let's practice. Did they put the toys in the box? That's right, they put the toys in the box. Let's practice. Did she walk into the room? That's right, she walked into the room. Did she walk in the room? That's right, she walked in the room. But what if there's no movement or direction and you just want to express location? Then we have to use in. We cannot use into. For example, the toys are in the box. I cannot say the toys are into the box. No, the toys are in the box. You're just expressing the location of where they are. There's no direction, there's no movement. Let's practice. Where are the toys? Are the toys in the box? That's right, the toys are in the box. Now let's look at some situations where we have to use into. It's our only option. When you have verbs like this, where you're expressing impact, crash, you crash into something. Run, you run into something. Bump, that's a little hit. You bump into something. Or walk, you can walk into something. You're expressing impact. Example, they crashed into the tree. I have to use into. I cannot say they crashed the tree or they crashed in the tree. They crashed to the tree. No, I need to use into. They crashed into the tree. Let's practice. Did they crash into the tree? That's right, they crashed into the tree. She walked into the glass wall. She didn't see it because it was so clean. There was impact. She walked into the glass wall. Into is my only option for a preposition. Let's practice. Did she walk into the glass wall? That's right, she walked into the glass wall. Or I can use run. She wasn't really running, but I can still use run. Run in the present, in the past, ran. She ran into the glass wall. Let's practice. Did she run into the glass wall? That's right, she ran into the glass wall. It was an accident, and there was impact. Example with bump. Bump into. Sometimes at the store, at the supermarket, you're pushing your shopping cart and you bump into somebody, or you bump into the wall. You bump into another cart. You can bump into things with your shopping cart. Sometimes I bump into things with my shopping cart. Let's practice. Do you bump into things with your shopping cart? Very good. And let me know in the comments, what do you bump into when you're pushing your shopping cart? Hopefully not people. So remember, if you have a verb with direction and movement, you can use in or into. Walk in the room or walk into the room. If you're expressing location, just use in. The toys are in the box. But if you have verbs with impact like crash, run, walk, or bump, we have to use into. And what about hit? Hit is different. There's no preposition with hit. He hit a tree with his car. He crashed into the tree, so I can say he hit a tree. No into there. And what about crash and wreck? How are they different? Keep watching for a full explanation and to practice more. Today we're learning the difference between these two words. They can be verbs and they can be nouns. And sometimes they're interchangeable, and sometimes they're not. So let's take a closer look. First, let's talk about pronunciation. Wreck. We see the W is silent, so just pronounce the R. Wreck. Use the short S sound like 10 and red. Wreck. So wreck can be a verb and wreck can be a noun. Example, He wrecked the car. Wreck in the present, in the past, wrecked. Use the T sound, t, and link the sounds, wrecked. He wrecked the car. You don't really hear the T when you link it with the next word. Wrecked the car. The tongue goes up to make the T sound, but then links to the TH sound. He wrecked the car. That's the verb wreck in the past. And the idea, he had an accident and he damaged the car. Or I can say crash. Pronunciation, use the short A sound like black cat. Crash, crash. Crash in the present, in the past, crashed with a T sound. Link the sounds, crashed. He crashed the car. Again, we don't really hear the T if you link it to the next word. Crashed the car. The tongue goes up, but then links to the TH sound in the. He crashed the car. The idea, he had an accident. So we see with this example, the words are interchangeable. When using the verbs wreck and crash, in this case, they mean the same thing. They're interchangeable. He wrecked the car, he crashed the car. Same idea. Let's practice. Did he wreck the car? That's right, he wrecked the car. Did he crash the car? That's right, he crashed the car. Now let's use the words as nouns. They're countable nouns, so I have to say a wreck, a crash. Example, I saw a wreck on the highway. The idea, I saw an accident on the highway. I can use wreck as a noun. I saw a wreck on the highway. Or I can use the noun crash. Again, it's countable, so I have to say I saw a crash on the highway. When you use these two words as nouns in this way, they are interchangeable. They mean the same thing. Let's practice. Did you see a wreck on the highway? That's right, I saw a wreck on the highway. Did you see a crash on the highway? Me too. I saw a crash on the highway. Now let's talk about when they're not interchangeable. Example, he crashed into a tree. We can use the verb crash with the preposition into. It's one preposition. It's not separate in, to. It's one preposition, into. Crash into. In the past, crashed, crashed into. Now we hear the T sound in crashed because the next word is a vowel. And when you link them, you have to pronounce the T sound. It doesn't disappear. Pronounce that T. Crashed, crashed in, crashed into. He crashed into a tree. But I cannot say he wrecked into a tree. We don't use the preposition into when we use the verb wreck. I can say he wrecked the car, but I cannot say he wrecked into the tree. I can only use the verb crash with into. He crashed into a tree. Or he crashed into the tree. He crashed into a tree. Or I can say specific, he crashed into the tree. I think sounds better. It's more in general. He crashed into a tree, but not he wrecked into a tree. Let's practice. Did he crash into a tree? That's right, he crashed into a tree. Another situation when these words are not interchangeable is when I change wreck with ed, wrecked, and I use it as an adjective. Example, the car is wrecked. Wrecked is an adjective. It means damaged from an accident, or just damaged. The car is wrecked. You're expressing damage here. It's an adjective. The car is wrecked. But I cannot say the car is crashed. I cannot use crashed as an adjective, only wrecked. So they're not interchangeable in this case. When I use wrecked as an adjective, that's my only option. The car is wrecked. The car is totally wrecked. Let's practice. Is the car totally wrecked? That's right, the car is totally wrecked. So these words are interchangeable when I use them as verbs with no connector into. Example, he wrecked the car or he crashed the car. I saw a wreck. I saw a crash. You can say I saw a car wreck. I saw a car crash. They're interchangeable in this case too. using them as nouns. But if I use the verb with into, I have to say crash into. I cannot say wreck into. He crashed into a tree. I cannot say he wrecked into a tree, only crash in this case. And I can use wrecked with ed, pronouncing the T sound, as an adjective. The car is wrecked. And that's my only option. I cannot say the car is crashed. There's no adjective crashed, only wrecked. So remember, into is your preposition for crash. Crash into. We use into as a preposition for impact. And not just for crash, but for other verbs too. Crash into, bump into, walk into, or run into. With all of these verbs and this preposition, you're talking about impact. Example, he crashed into a tree, or maybe he walked into a tree, or maybe he bumped into a tree, or maybe he ran into a tree. You're talking about impact. Example, he walked into the door. Again, impact. He was walking and he hit the door. He walked into the door. Let's practice. Did he walk into the door? That's right, he walked into the door. Or maybe he was running. Then I can say he ran into the door. Run in the past, ran. He ran into the door. Let's practice. Did he run into the door? That's right, he ran into the door. Impact. Or I can use bump. Bump is like a little hit, a light hit. Bump, in the past, bumped. Example, he bumped into the chair. He hit the chair a little bit. He bumped into the chair. Link the sounds. He bumped into the chair. Let's practice. Did he bump into the chair? That's right, he bumped into the chair. Thank you for watching. And if you like this video, subscribe to our channel. And if you want to become a member, click the join button. And we'll see you next time.